Well, if you haven't heard, Twitch announced last night opening ceremony at TwitchCon 23 that you are now allowed to stream to other platforms without any penalties. And, that's a big deal because, streamers that are partnered, that are affiliated and are making a good bit of money from Twitch. They were kind of worried about losing that if they decided to multi-stream to other platforms like Kick or YouTube. But now you don't have to worry. You can do it now for free and without penalty. So let me show you now a couple ways that you can do it, both free and paid. And I'll talk about what's good and bad about each of the ways to do so. And we'll go through them. And I'll even have a little bit of bonus content for you to talk about too. That'll even help you further with your multi-streaming journey. So if you're interested, stay tuned. All right, so let's talk about the best way to multi-stream and the best free way that I know of, especially if you're an OBS Studio user, is to use the multi-record plugin that you can download from OBS Studio's website. Link down in the description below. So what is good about it and what's bad about it? Well, positive is, first of all, it's going to give you greater flexibility because you can encode at different bit rates using this plugin to your different platforms. So that's going to ensure that you're going to get the best video quality. It also gives you full control of your different sources. Again, with all the different encoding options that are going to be independent, it's going to allow you to get the best quality of your video. And best of all, it's free and it's safe to use. Now, what's the negatives with it? Well, it can be quite resource heavy, so I would only recommend you do this if you have a dedicated streaming PC or you have a really monster gaming PC with the latest processors that you're going to be able to do this without affecting your gameplay. With the newest NVIDIA GPUs, you should be able to do this with no issues as they do allow multiple encodes on the NVIDIA encoding, so that's good. But you need to be able to give enough bandwidth to be able to support that. So what am I talking about here? Well, say you stream to Twitch and you want to send 6,000 to Twitch and you're going to stream to YouTube and you're going to send 12,000 there and then you're going to send another 6,000 to Kick all at the same time. Well, that's additive, which means that you're going to have to allot a total of 24,000 bit rate to go to each of those services and using your internet. And you may not be able to support that type of bandwidth. So you need to be aware of that. If you can't, then this might not be the best option for you, or you're going to just have to lower your bit rate for each of the services. So keep that in mind. So lower end systems with limited bandwidth may not want to use this as your way to multi-stream. All right, so how do you set this up? Well, first of all, you're going to need to download a plugin from the OBS forums. Again, I'll provide a link down below. Now, this is going to give you a pop-up because if you use the installer, it's going to give you the Microsoft pop-up because it's not an approved app. But trust me, it's safe, and I do recommend you use the installer. It's just the easiest method to do so. But if you feel like you don't want to do that, then you could do the zip file. It's going to install the same files regardless, so keep that in mind. Once you do that, then what you're going to want to do is go into OBS and you're going to go to your docs and you're going to check on the multiple outputs, make sure it's check marked. And then what that'll do is that'll give you the multiple outputs UI inside of OBS where you can move it around as a different dockable source. Then what you're going to want to do is click add new target, and you're going to want to add a target for each different service that you're going to stream to. For me, it would be YouTube and Kick. I have Twitch already programmed into OBS as my primary anyway, so I don't need to add a target for that. And we'll talk about how you stream to each of those separate later. Then what you're going to want to do is once you add a new target, you're going to see the UI pop up. That's where you're going to add your encode settings for that service. And you're going to also add the stream key and the stream URL. You'll need to go to your YouTube or Kick or Facebook, wherever you're going to be streaming to get those. You can also use authentication with your username and password if you want to do that, but it's not necessary. It's just optional. Okay. Now, once you get all that set up and you get in your encoder settings for each of your services done, then you can go and you can start stream by clicking on the start all, or you can start on each individual service. Now you would need to go start streaming to your primary first and then go and use your different outputs separately. I don't think you can stream to the outputs without going to start streaming inside of OBS like you would normally do for a single service like Twitch anyway. Again, for me, I would stream to Twitch. I'd hit start streaming, and then I'd go to the other outputs and then hit start all. Or, you know, if I just wanted to stream to YouTube, I would just hit the start for YouTube, and that's it. So it's very easy to set up. Another free way that we can do this is through Prism Live Studio. Now, if you don't know about Prism Live Studio, I actually covered this in a big video not too long ago. And it still does apply because not a lot's changed. But basically, Prism Live Studio is just another version of OBS that they made, specific with their own kind of tweaks. And it's actually really nice. It's kind of like a mixture of Streamlabs and OBS, where Streamlabs, a lot of stuff's behind a paywall. Prism Live's all free. Okay, but it looks just like OBS. But I think the UI is actually a little nicer. So what are the positives with Prism Live Studios? Well, I think it's a little easier to set up because you don't have to download a plugin to multi-stream. It's built in. All you need to do is add your channels. It has API integration with the major services. So you got YouTube, you got Facebook, you got Twitch. You can set up a channel for each of those. And instead of having to go in and manually set up everything with a string key and a URL, all you need to do is log into your account and it will set up. And then what's nice about that is then you can actually set your streams up from within inside of Prism Live. You don't even need to go to the websites and set up your stream name and what game you're going to stream and all that stuff. It's all done within Prism Live, which is awesome. Okay, so it's also free and safe. Again, it's all built in. It's a great app. It comes from an approved source from Microsoft. You can easily set this up. And another great thing about it is because it is a separate version of OBS Studio, you can also use the scene collection imports and exports within it. So if you have a scene in OBS Studio, you can then make a JSON for that, by exporting it into your hard drive and then importing it into Prism Live. Everything will get moved over and it takes literally seconds. It's very awesome. I love it. Another thing that's great about Prism Live Studio is their own version of chat that combines all of your different chats together. So you have a chat widget within Prism Live that you can not only monitor yourself, but then it will make a widget that you could put on your scene so that your viewers can also see it. And they will see everybody's different chats from the different services. It's very nice. Now, you only need one encode setting. Think of it kind of like the way Restream is, which we'll talk about here in a second, but you'll set your encode up inside of Prism Live, just like you would normally do with OBS Studio for a single service, but it will then send everything out to the different stream services, and you don't have to worry about having a ton of bandwidth to support it. So that's what's nice about it, but it takes away some of the flexibility that you have, because now if you're going to send 6,000 to Twitch, you're now going to have to send 6,000 to Kick and 6,000 to YouTube. You can't bump those up any. Okay, so keep that in mind. The greatest thing I think about it is just easy. It's nice for all levels of PCs and internet speeds. But it's one of the negatives, and there's very few negatives with this one, but one of the negatives that it has is that at the end of your stream, it's going to put a little kicker video that says that this stream was done using Prism Live Studio. It lasts a couple seconds. It's not long, but you need to be aware that that's going to happen. If you don't mind that, then you should have no issues with this. Also, one more thing that is a negative. Now, Prism Live does support OBS plugins, but they only support ones that are stable with Prism Live Studio and have been tested by the development team. You can't use just any plugin. So, some plugins that are getting updated or that are new that have not gone through the review process, you cannot use on Prism Live Studio. Okay, keep that in mind. And all the big popular ones that most people use, like WebSocket, NDI, that sort of thing, are all available. As a matter of fact, Prism Live Studio, if you're an NDI user, it's built in. You don't need the plugin. It comes with it. Okay, so that's great. The great thing about it is that when you're setting it up, you can use API integration for the major ones that they support. And that's, for us, it would be Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. But you can also set custom RTMP, which if you're streaming the Kick, you can set up that in there. And then you would just need to go to Kick and set up your stream info, like the name and the game that you're going to be streaming to and that sort of thing. Other than that, the encoding settings are exactly the same as OBS Studio, and they do apply with NVENC and all the, NVENC settings and stuff. So keep that in mind. All right. So the next way that we'll talk about, and this is probably the best paid way to do it is through Restream.io. So the positives with Restream.io, okay, well, it's really easy to set up. The fact is that it's fully integrated with OBS Studio. So you go and you make an account on Restream. You can either do a free account, which is going to limit you, and we'll talk about that here in a second, or you can go to one of the paid tiers. All right, you do one of the paid tiers, you would need to go in and set up all your different services inside of Restream's website. Make sure they're connected to your account. And then you go in OBS, and in the streaming under settings, you would go to the streaming, and then you would select Restream.io, put in your username and password, and boom, OBS Studio is locked in and ready to go. It's just a matter at that point of just hitting start streaming, and it'll go to all the different services that you set up on Restream's website. Really easy to use. You can also do custom RTMP to there, you know, if it's not supported, but I think even Restream supports Kick now. So there you go. They do have a chat widget that does combine all the chats that is currently supported. So you can use that. And I do believe you can embed that also into your scene. Now, the negatives really with Restream, of course, is the fact that you got to pay for it, and it can be pricey if you're not making a lot of money on your Twitch, Kick, or YouTube, or if you're not making any money at all, it really can be pricey. But, you know, they do give you some different tiers, you know, based on what you're having. Most people at the lowest tier would probably be okay. It does remove the watermark that is on the free version. Keep that in mind. If you're doing the free version, you cannot get rid of the watermark. It's there. And it's also limited to 720p. And you can only stream to 2 sites at once. So to get to the multiple sites where you want to do 3 or more, you're going to definitely have to pay. Here is one more paid version. I'm going to just talk about this as an honorable mention because I know a lot of you have some hate and discontent towards this company, but Streamlabs. Okay, Streamlabs, again, paid through their Prime, I think is what it's called, subscription, Streamlabs Prime. You can multi-stream, built-in multi-streaming inside of the Streamlabs app. That is available, and it's really easy to set up, you know, just as easy as Restream.io. And you get full, you know, support, 1080p, 4K, whatever you want to send through those. So it's actually really easy to set up too. But I know a lot of you people have kind of turned away from Streamlabs since they had this whole debacle with OBS back in the day. But keep in mind, they did work things out, and Streamlabs is actually a pretty good service. Problem is a lot of it's behind a paywall. Now, here's the bonus thing that I wanted to talk about, because you're going to need a chat that's going to integrate all these services together. And there is a really good free one out there that you may want to look at, and that is Botrix. Okay, Botrix is an all-in-one chat bot that has chat integration for all of the different services, and they support all the major ones, including Kick. Okay, so you can get a multi-chat widget that, again, you can put on your scene. You can use the monitor that shows everything, and it works really well. And then in addition to that, you can use the bot as a moderator to do your commands, to do channel points, to do moderation of your chat for, you know, profanity or links, that sort of thing. It's really nice, and it's free. They do have a paid version too that does some things that you might want, including a custom bot name. But for most people, the free version works really good, and it gives you, I don't know, 90% of the functionality of what Botrix will give you. So go out and give that a shot too. But that's really it, guys. I mean, you know, we have some great options now if you're wanting to grow your live stream without any penalties on Twitch. And if you've been a partner with Twitch, go out there and try multi-stream, because I'm going to be honest with you, I think it is the way to go. And most people have been doing it regardless because it was just worth the risk. I mean, Ninja, he dropped his partnership so he could multi-stream, right? And look what happened. He may be one of the main reasons why we're all now able to do this without worrying about getting banned on Twitch. Okay, so keep that in mind, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you got any questions about anything, please drop a comment down below. Also, if you like content like this, make sure you hit the like. I would love to see you come back and, you know, subscribe. If you can, please, I would appreciate it. And hit the bell for notifications so that you'll know when I have a video that goes live.